should be the whole year? What's the idea of 8 days not eating chametz and the rest of the year we can eat chametz? So the Zohar explains with a beautiful mashal. He says there was a king who had an only son, and the only son became sick. And they went to all the doctors, and finally one doctor said, I have a medicine that can heal the son. But there's a very important rule to this medicine. The medicine can be taken daily for 8 days, and nothing else can be eaten along with the medicine. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So the king takes the medicine home with the son, and he's very nervous. The son's going to take the medicine. What if he eats something else along with the medicine? So he orders that every single bit of food should be eradicated from the palace. And take everything out. Nothing should be at hand so that the son shouldn't, chas v'sholom, by mistake, eat something. After the 8 days are over and the medicine worked, then the food can come back into the palace, because now the son is healed. There's no longer a problem of eating that food. And obviously the mashal is that when they so left Mitzrayim, they didn't fully understand yet the basics of the emunah, of faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Hashem said, you got to keep away from chametz, and you have to eat only matzah, the michla das vata, like we said. That's going to give Klal Yisrael the ability to understand the seides, the secrets of matzah, and the belief in Malchus Shamayim. But after they inculcate that within themselves for the 8 days of Pesach, then it's not a problem to eat chametz, because it's not going to affect them. They already learned what they have to. The chametz won't have that effect. To the extent that Shavuos, which is the culmination of the 7 weeks, and we have Matan Torah, Shavuos is the epitome of spiritual health, like the Zohar calls the asvata d'oraisa. We bring shtei halechem as the carbon. Shtei halechem is the only time we bring chametz. It doesn't go on the mizbeach, but it's brought as a carbon. It's one of the only times, aside from the carbon taida. Chametz can come even into the Beis Hamikdash. We've so healed ourselves and reached such a level by Shavuos time that the chametz will have no effect at all. And perhaps this is what we're hinting at when we say halach ma'anya. The matzah symbolizes why we celebrate in Golos today. We still have the matzah today. We still have what we've gained by the exodus from Mitzrayim, the 7 weeks towards Matan Torah, the Kabbalah HaTorah. The fact that we're back in Golos didn't lose for us the Torah that we have, like the mashal, and the matzah that we have, which symbolizes what we have even today, is something to celebrate. But I want to take it one step further. Pesach is not only a commemoration of the occurrences that took place back then in the times of Yetzias Mitzrayim. This battle with the Yetzer Hara is ongoing. This battle with the Yetzer Hara is something which takes place daily and yearly and for our entire lives. Every single Pesach gives us an opportunity to once again prevail over the Yetzer Hara. It's Yidua from the Kedushas Levi, the Berditchever, he says that although the secular timelines are drawn in a line, the Jewish timeline is drawn in a circle. It's not that as we go on in time, we're commemorating an event that took place further and further back in history. What we're doing every year on Shavuos L'mashal is we're re-accepting the Torah, the new Kabbalah HaTorah. We're reliving that which took place. We're back in the circle to that day of Shavuos. Pesach, we're also reliving what took place on Pesach. Pesach, it says, Chayav Adam Liris, it's Atzmai Ke'ilu Hu Yatzam Mitzrayim. That a person has to see it each year as if he's undergoing a personal redemption. And the Zohar's principle applies as well. When Chazal tell us to search every Erev Pesach with Bedikas Chametz, Chazal tell us to look for the Chametz in our homes, a person also has to do introspection, not just for the physical Chametz, but for the Se'ar Shebe'isa, for the Yetzer Hara inside of us, Tesmach B'Tzeinu, as Rashi has said. Some even have a custom, again, this is printed in some Sidurim, after Bir Chametz, there's a tefillah that said. And part of that tefillah says, She'tizakenu lefashvesh b'nigei bate hanefesh asher ne'alnu b'atzasi Yetzer Hara, v'tizakenu loshe v'tshuva shlema. What are you saying about this? It's B'dikas Chametz, I'm looking for crumbs. The answer is I'm doing a lot more than that. I should be doing a lot more than that as I search for the crumbs. I'm searching for the chametz within, in my nefesh, and I'm trying to eradicate that. And that's what I'm trying to do, and I hope the tefillah I say at the end of B'dikas Chametz is I was successful, not only in the physical chametz, but we're asking Hashem, may you give us the merit to examine the afflictions of our soul, that the nigei hanefesh, batei hanefesh, and to attain the spiritual heights which I am yearning for, and to return to HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'tshuva shleima. Pesach, therefore, is not just commemorating. It's a celebration even today, because every year we're given the opportunity to strengthen ourselves in Amunah and to attain spiritual heights that we've never, ever reached before. Every year we can steig and we can gain more and more. And it could be this is the reason why the Torah says Pesach always has to fall on Chodesh Aviv. We have a lunar solar calendar. It's not completely lunar and it's not completely solar. It's a mix because we want the Pesach always to fall in the spring. The first mitzvah Klal Yisrael was given, we read it last week as Maftir, is a Chodesh Azelachem Rosh Chodashim. That refers to the month of Nisan. The Sfas Emes says, we all know, HaChodesh can be read HaChidush Azelachem. That it's a time of renewal. Just like spring is a renewal in nature, the time of Chodesh HaAviv and the month of Nisan is supposed to be a spiritual renewal for us, and to see how we can gain in spirituality and ruchnius for the coming year. We also find the Haftarah of Shabbos Chol Hamoed is there's no Shabbos Chol Hamoed this year, but when there is a Shabbos Chol Hamoed, we lay the story of Yechezkel Hanavi and the dry bones, the Tchias HaMesim. The idea of Tchias HaMesim is also renewal. It's the same concept of Chiddush, of renewal. The ability to refresh ourselves and begin again is a gift that was given only to Yidden. The other nations of the world don't have that concept. And therefore, like the Gemara says in the beginning of Masechta Rosh Hashanah, it's only for us that the months are counted from month 1 is Nisan. The rest of the world counts from Tishrei. Nisan is special for Klal Yisrael, and what Nisan represents, this concept of Chiddush. And this is why it's so important to eradicate, getting back to what we said, Halacha l'maisa, you might be able to ignore some of the crumbs. But if you're able to, and the reason why the Nashim Tzidkaniyas throughout the years have spent so much time and effort in scrubbing the walls and scrubbing the floors more than they really have to, halacha, is because it's symbolic of eradicating the Yetzer Hara from our midst. We then, after we do that, we eat the matzah, and which symbolizes our strengthening in faith and acceptance of Om Achos Shamayim. The point, though, is that it's not just symbolic. It's something that the Seder night is designed for conveying to our children every year, the Amun in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not just relating the miracles that imbues our children and ourselves with Amunah. It's actually the kiyum of the mitzvahs hayom. The fact that a person eats matzah is a physical thing, but it has spiritual strength to be able to give a person an Amunah. It's not something we necessarily understand, but this is something that we know, that the matzah can physically aid a person into having more faith in Amunah and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is what we're doing every single year as we sit down by the Seder. It's going along with the Haggadah and with the Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. It's something physical that we do to aid in that Amunah. There are those who explain the wearing of the kittel in the same way. Most have the custom to wear the kittel by the Seder, and white garments usually symbolize the removal of chet. The only other time we wear a kittel is by Yom Kippur. So, according to what we're saying, these are the 2 times of the year that symbolize the removal of chet. Klal Yisrael first achieved that lofty status at Yetzias Mitzrayim, but then unfortunately with the Chet HaEgel they lost it. They got it back on Yom Kippur. So we're very into Yom Kippur and wearing the kittel. That's the second time it happened. The first time it happened for Klal Yisrael was by the Yetzias Mitzrayim. And then every year, as we put on our kittel by the Seder, we're commemorating that, and we're attempting once again to reach that lofty status again as we sit down by Seder night. And I want to end with one more idea, which is based on the Maharal. This quest for spirituality and ruchnius is hinted at in the actual order of the Seder. That's a little redundant. The word Seder means order. But we have a specific order that Chazal gave us when they set up the Seder night. The number of steps in the Seder, if you count them, Kaddish, Urchatz, Karpas, Yachatz, is 15. 15, the Maharal says, is a very significant number. The Beis HaMikdash, there were 15 steps that led up from the Ezras Yisrael, from the Ezras Nashim to the Ezras Yisrael, which is the Makam of the Avodah, of the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Each step corresponds, as we know, to one of the Shir HaMalos. There's 15 Shir HaMalos in Tehillim, and the Gemara tells us in Sukkah that the Leviim would stand on those 15 steps, and they would sing the Shir HaMalos during the Simchas Pesach She'eva. What does this number 15 represent? So, we know there's a pasuk, it's based on Gemara Menachos. The pasuk says, Ki b'ka Hashem tzorei lamim. Ki b'ka, with the name Ka, the Yud and the Hey, Hashem tzorei lamim. Hashem created the worlds, plural. Which 2 worlds do we have? We have Shemayim and Oretz, the heavens and earth. There's Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba. The Gemara Menachos says that is with the name of Hashem, the name Ka, Yud and the Hey, Kadosh Baruch Hu was tzorei, created Olamim, the 2 worlds, Eretz and Shemayim. The letter Yud was what he used to create the Olam Haba, the Shemayim, and the Ruchnius, and the Hey is what Hashem used to create Oretz, to create this world. Oretz, of course, and Shemayim are synonymous and interchangeable, as the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, Daf Tzadik Aleph, with Ruchnius and Gashmius. And where does this connection take place? This idea of putting the 2 things together. We connect the Yud and the Hey with the name of Hashem. So we're connecting the Ruchnius and Gashmius go together. 2 things are put together for the Shem of Hashem of 15. The Shem Yud Hey is Gematria 15. This connection takes place in the Beis HaMikdash. That's the place on this earth where HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings his Shekhinah down. It's the tzinar, so to speak, the pipeway where Ruchnius comes down to this physical world. That's why there were 15 steps leading a person up to the Makam Avodah in the Beis HaMikdash. Beis HaMikdash is where the Hashem brings the Shekhinah down, in that Makam. And that's the place where HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings his Shekhinah down. And the Gemara tells us that, like we said, that Shemayim and Oretz equals Ruchnius and Gashmius, and therefore, the pasuk says in Shir Hashirim, Migdal David Savarech. Migdal David is a reference to the Beis HaMikdash, and it's compared to a tzavar, to a neck. The Lutzker Rav Zalman Taraskin said that it's the same idea. Neck is the tzinor that connects the mind, the moyach, to the rest of the body. Beis HaMikdash is that tzinor, is that tzavor, is that neck that connects the ruchnius HaKadosh Baruch Hu to this world. So the Maral says that the number 15 represents and symbolizes always mortal man's connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, his constant pursuit of ascending with his guf to higher spiritual levels. That's what 15 always represents. We find that David HaMelech was the 14th generation from Avram Avinu. The name David is Gematria 14. Shlomo HaMelech, his son, was the 15th one. Shlomo Mispar Katan, if you leave out the zeros, is Gematria, his numerical value is 15. It's comparable to the Sahara B'Ashlamusa when the moon is full, because that's the 15th day of the month. The concept of 15 is when Klal Yisrael is at their zenith, at their highest level of ruchnis, of perfection. Shlomo HaMelech was the closest we came to the zenith, to perfection, to the Geula Shlema. At the end of his life, it didn't go so well, and we're still in Golos because of that. But after 30 generations came the Churban. It was 30 generations, the 30th king was by the Churban. Just as the 30th day is the end of the lunar month in complete darkness. We have to remember that Klal Yisrael's zenith is at 15. When the moon is brightest, it's the farthest from the sun. The sun represents the nations of the world. The less connection we have and intermingling we have with the nations of the world, the brighter we'll be and the more ruchnistic we'll be. That's the 15th of the month when the moon is bright because it's far from the sun. And this also is the deeper message of Dayenu. We sing a song, Dayenu. If you count the number of steps in Dayenu, there's 15 levels of miracles that are also the number 15 comes up. The point is that with each further recognition of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kindness to us, we bring ourselves closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we attain a higher level of ruchnius. And the epitome is the final steps, Kabbalah Satira, and then entering Eretz Yisrael, and finally the building of the Beis HaMikdash, the highest level